we were just chatting earlier about how much fun we always have on these. And so I'm pumped to hopefully deliver your audience some value and have some fun doing it.
We love you coming on because you always bring such great value for our audience. So thank you again. For everybody that is tuning in live, be sure to ask your questions throughout the podcast. We love to have a participatory audience. So be sure, put in your comments, your questions, things like that in the chat, and we'll get to them because we have Brendan for the next half hour. So might as well utilize it. So other than that, I think we can get started here. We're talking today about circle prospecting and how that can help with your open houses. Is that right, Brendan?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this subject, especially with the REDX and geo leads and, using the technology. So I was just talking to a few top agents across the country, and we go, look, what we usually see in our industry, Haley, is that people, when they go to do an open house, it's the day before, the day of, and they're like, you know what? I got to do an open house. And then they go do that open house. There's no results. No one comes, and 2 people come or whatever, and they just don't get a lot of value from it. And we have a whole process that leads up to having what we call a 7th level open house. And a big part of that, especially with technology now, is using geo leads and being able to pre-call that neighborhood. And I think a lot of people get in their head about, well, hey, I don't want to prospect or cold call. And it's like, but you'll go do an open house, which is the definition of prospecting, right? You're just, instead of outbound, you're putting up a sign and hoping people will come in, but you're still using your time, your effort, your energy to try to get people to come in, do business with you, right? So if we can multiply that, right, 5 times the amount, 10 times the amount, 20 times the amount of people that come into your open house, well, if we know that it's just a numbers game and we need to get a certain percentage ahead of time, I'd like to do everything I can to increase the amount of people that are going to come. So our rundown in how we do this, and when I say open house, now the script that I'm going to talk about today is whether you're doing open house, just listed, or just sold. And this script will work for all 3 of those, but I'll frame it into the open house. So whether yourself or someone that you in your office has listed a property and you're going to host an open house for them. So let's say that open house is Sunday from 12 to 3. Well, first of all, when we do open houses, we usually do back-to-back days, and we call it an open house extravaganza. And the reason for that is when you do back-to-back, when you're making these calls, you can give people 2 options to be able to attend. So maybe they're skiing on Saturday, which we were just talking about, and they can make it on Sunday, or vice versa, or they're watching basketball and they can't. So if you have 2 options, that's the first critical piece to this instead of just one day. Then the second, as we start to think about it, is we go, okay, great. We tie all of our open houses to a charitable event. So Haley, if we were going to have an open house, let's say I'm going to do, well, I guess it's almost spring. So we would probably do a can drive. We do clothing drives for the veterans. We do school supply drives. We do all of this. So if you have a charitable event and you can't figure out anyone, just collect canned food. Somebody out there needs canned food, guaranteed. It doesn't matter what time of year, right? So we'll go, great. So first, create that charitable offering to give another reason for people to come by, right? If they don't want to see the house, maybe they want to drop off some coats and you can get them into the right hands. Maybe they care about, helping someone in need. Maybe they needed school supplies when they were a kid and somebody hooked them up. So there's an emotional attachment instead of just come to my open house so I can show you this house and see if I can turn you into a buyer.
There's more incentive to come.
Yeah, there's a conversation about it, right? And hopefully some emotion. So then we back that schedule up. So first, 2-day open house extravaganza, tie it to a charitable fundraiser or fundraising event. Then we got to start thinking about the psychology of, okay, when should I call and how many people should I call? So when we're using geo leads, we're going to take that open house, that physical address, search the surrounding area. Now, people get into their heads. They go, well, Haley, should I cross over neighborhoods? And what about this?
Right.
Your goal is to invite as many human beings as humanly possible. Doesn't matter if it's a condo and then there's a single family home neighborhood across the street. And I'm going to give you some phrasing here that's going to help it, so it doesn't matter anyway, right? So first, I see people not doing enough homes, right? If we're looking at the odds of this, and just from all the stats that myself and my organization have measured in the last, 15 years, we know that on average, it takes about 35 conversations about buying or selling real estate for you to set an appointment. Now, with an open house, it's usually about 15. So 35 conversations to set an appointment, meaning a buyer or a listing. You need to have about 15 conversations for every one attendee at your open house. So use that as a guiding light, right?
Yeah.
And when I mean conversation, Haley, we were talking earlier, not a call. We define a contact by a conversation about buying or selling real estate. So if you call up and they say, they answer in a different language, that's not a conversation, right? You didn't converse about the open house, so there was no conversation about real estate. If they're 8 years old, they can't come to the open house and buy the house or list or sell with you, not a conversation, right?
Right.
So now we're gauging, and we have our daily accountability checklist out, which is, we check how many calls we're making. So now all I just have to do is think about, I need 15 of these for every one open house attendee. So then it just becomes a game, right? So I'm going, all right, and again, not to say that the signs aren't going to help, and we're going to talk about signs and all this, but I'm just saying straight up invitations. All right.
Okay.
So prior to that open house on Saturday, I'm going to start making my calls no later than Wednesday. If you go Tuesday, Monday, people are going to forget. So Wednesday's probably the earliest day if you're doing a Saturday or a Sunday open house. Now, the second limited belief I get is, but Brendan, the houses are selling so fast. We don't, in our market, we don't even.
I know. I was thinking that.
Yeah, we don't even need to do open houses. Well, that's stupid. If you're not doing an open house, sorry, yeah, that's insane. Then number one, you're not generating buyer leads. Remember, every listing you take should generate 2 qualified buyers.
Yeah.
Now, even if you don't want to work with buyers, give them to someone else and take a referral fee.
Right.
So these agents are going, we're not even going to do an open house. We don't want to bother with it. You just missed out on 2 pieces of business. In this market, probably even more, because we're seeing the best open house attendance on earth, right? Think about even making that better with this process we're going to teach you today. So you're doing this, you got the listing, you finally have a listing, or some other agents allowing you to do theirs. Let's maximize it. So, and then of course, it's going to create more awareness, a higher price for your sellers. I mean, there's so many benefits of it. So now it's Wednesday. I'm going to use my geo leads. I'm going to print out my geographic farm or geographic list. And what I'm looking at here is I'm usually, if I'm using the dialer, right, I'm going to be able to do a lot more, a lot quicker. And I get people all the time, Haley, that are scared of the dialer, right?
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
It's so crazy to me. I'm like, again, I always tell the story, we literally had to use 2 physical phones to dial at anywhere near what we could do. And we'd hang up on one and all this. It's like, now you have this blessing of technology and you're going, you know what? It freaks me out. Like, I'm not going to do that, right? Remember, you're doing things that are going to help you do things more efficiently and faster.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing about
more
technology.
listings in less time.
Oh, more listings in less time. Music to my ears. So now we've got our list. And when I look at this, as I go, I'm going to try to first start with a list of 500. 500 just seems to be that golden number. So I'm going to make sure I have at least 500 because I don't want to run out of people to call in my session. And then I'm going to start on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or all 3 days. And I'm going to use a very simple script. So when I call, I'm going to call up. And so, Haley, if you'll role play with me. So we'll just go through this. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, I was looking for Haley.
This is she.
Hey, Haley, this is Brendan with XYZ Real Estate Company. Hey, I was calling myself, if it's you, or not myself, I just listed, right? If it's your listing, or we, if you're hosting the open house for someone else, right? So we just listed this amazing home at 123 Elm Street. And Haley, I'm doing an open house extravaganza there this Saturday and Sunday. Haley, I would love if you could come by and help judge this home for me so I can provide feedback to the seller. In addition, we're doing a canned food drive for the local food bank. So if you have any canned food that you might want to drop off, I'll make sure it gets into those that really, really need it. Now, Haley, we're going to be having this from 12 to 3 on both Saturday and Sunday. Will you be able to attend either one or both?
I think I can make it on Sunday.
You can make it on Sunday. Excellent. Well, let me send you an actual formal invitation. So I'd like to send that via email. What's the best email, Justin? Haley@gmail.com, right?
Right.
Great. So, all right. So I'll send you that invitation. I look forward to seeing you on there on Sunday. And Haley, while I've got you on the phone, since we know that this house is going to sell very, very quickly, and we're going to have a lot of extra buyers from all this generation we're doing, all this frenzy we're creating.
Mm-hmm.
Haley, if you were to move and sell, where would you go next?
I would probably move south towards where my parents live.
South to where your parents live. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. Okay, south. And if it was the perfect situation, Haley, when would that be?
Oh, I don't know. Might be a few years.
A few years from now. Okay, excellent. Okay, well, no worries. Well, and Haley, when's the last time have you had a current assessment of the value of your property recently, what we call a comparative market analysis?
Not really. I mean, with the market going crazy, I know that I have a lot of equity in my home, but I haven't really done a full analysis.
No worries. Well, I will put that together. I offer that to all of my friends here in the neighborhood for free, no obligation. And then once you're ready, I can come by, take a look at the property, and actually give you some free tips on what you might want to do to get the best return on investment. So when the time is to go south, you're ready. But I'll go ahead now that I have your email address. I'll send you that market analysis, and then I'll just put you on a market report so you can see what's happening in your area. And then,
Wow.
Haley, while I also have you, do you happen to own any investment properties?
I don't, no.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, one of the amazing things I do, Haley, is I help people build wealth through investing in real estate. I'm actually doing a Zoom webinar on May 15th. It's about 40 minutes long. It's going to teach you all of the ins and outs of how to purchase your first investment property. I would love it if you'd be able to attend that. Does that sound like something you might be interested in?
I would love that.
Excellent. So I'll include that with the CMA, with the link to the invitation for the investor seminar. So, well, Haley, thank you for all your time today. I can't wait to meet you in person on Sunday. And again, if you have any of those canned goods, I'd love to get those into the right hands. If you don't worry, we're going to get a ton anyway. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you Sunday between 12 and 3.
Wow. Thanks so much, Brendan.
My pleasure.
That was good.
Yeah, so Haley, so this is the difference in that type of call, right? And for everyone that's listening, usually if you're making this call, I call it check downs, right? So if they can't attend the open house, then I go to my second check down. If you were to move, where would you go next? If you're not interested in that, do you own any investment properties? If you're not interested in that, I put out a great market report. We didn't even get to that one because you already said yes to it earlier because I slid it in there.
Yeah.
Right? And if you notice from the phrasing, Haley, nowhere in that conversation was there much options for you. It was kind of like, you're doing this, I'm going to do this, we're going to do this. It wasn't, do you mind if I send you? Would it be okay if I did this? That's one of the things I try to work on with most sales professionals is we're genetically instilled at a young age to go, would it be okay? Maybe, please, perhaps,
Tiptoe.
all of that, tiptoe around it. In sales, it's still being very polite, but confident politeness, right? Like you got to be very, like, I couldn't have done that whole conversation with you if I wasn't smiling. I have to feel good about it. I have to feel like we're getting there. And then I don't mind shoving it down your throat, right? Like, I don't mind that I'm like, you're coming and you're going to come to the investor thing and you're going to do all this.
It didn't feel that way either. It didn't feel like you were stuffing a bunch of stuff down my throat. So.
And that's what makes that call so much more fun. So I think if we can help people understand, look, it's not a one shot, one kill. I'm not calling to just try to see if you want to list your house or buy a house. I'm calling to start a relationship with you and to start going, I'm your real estate professional here in the neighborhood and I'm here to help. Now, the odds of you showing up at this open house are pretty slim. You'll get busy, you'll get this, but now I've captured your email address. So now I can at least market to you and say, hi. I'll also, after finishing this call, right, after my session's done, I'm going to keep doing this over and over and over. I mean, that's why I can do it like breathing, and it's going to take that much. Right. You're going to do it over and over and over and over. And Haley, to be honest, I'm sitting here and I'm playing Nerf hoop, and I'm on my headset walking around, whatever. And it's not like people think it's like this like glorious thing. No, It is pure on volume and repetition.
Mm.
And if you have enough of that, do you think one of those calls where I ask, if you were to move, where would you go next? They might just, one person's going to say, well, yeah, we were just thinking about selling.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. You're 2 to 3 years out, right? Which is totally fine. That's why that conversation went to my other checkdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many times where they go, actually, that's crazy that you just called because me and the wife are getting divorced. She just kicked me out last night.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm not kidding. I've had that conversation. Like, she actually,
Oof.
I'm in a hotel right now on my cell phone, right? Or whatever, right? And they're going,
Right.
I got to do something. So that happens. It's just a numbers game. A numbers
Yeah,
game.
I was actually on Facebook earlier today and I saw somebody post on some real estate group that was like, hey, I just got a listing from a cold call 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
And so it's because they made that relationship. They called, maybe, I don't know why, could have been for an open house or something, kept emailing them and following up and stuff like that. And then eventually they get the listing. And if you do that long enough, you'll have a business forever, right?
Right. The challenge, Haley, is what people get messed up on is they're not calling to just build the relationship. They feel like you just said, if that person you're talking about, if it was a year ago and the person said, I'm not ready right now, they go, psh,
Yep.
and they get rid of it.
Skip.
And the REDX system is designed so perfectly to keep that being nurtured, right?
Mm-hmm.
With all of these wonderful icons and reminders and all of these things where I'm like, I got to be an idiot not to follow up with this, but people just don't do it. It's who's going to win this over time. To that same point,
Right.
one of the agents on my team, Anthony Velasquez, he's an amazing agent, huge expired caller. Same thing, guy a year ago, I think it was like February 10th, he made the expired call. Nope, not interested. No, thank you. Nope. Okay, no problem. Hey, no worries. Hung up with him, handwritten note card, was able to obtain his email address, said, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Then called him every month, just listed for $1.4 million at 4% list side commission. So, because
Nice.
everyone else fell off along the way, right? Everyone else
Right.
that was so aggressive that first day disappeared. Anthony was there. He was kind. He was always supportive. He goes, no worries. Just wanted to check in with you every month. No worries. Just wanted to check in with you. Do you need anything? You good? You cool? No worries. Just wanted to check in with you. Then one more kicker on Thanksgiving, he did a pop by and put a pumpkin pie on his front porch. The guy honestly said when he did the listing, he goes, the pumpkin pie got me. He was like, I just thought that was the nicest thing for you to be out on a
Oh, I
Thanksgiving,
love that.
dropping off pumpkin pies to people, right? So it's a process, right? It's a process. But so with this call and this open house call, you can use it for an open house. If you're not going to host an open house or there's no open houses available, you can use that exact same call, but now I'm going to transfer to it what we call a just listed call. So I still have my list. I pick a listing that I took or that someone in my office took, right? Or any listing for that matter. It could be any listing in the neighborhood and go, we do that same script. The only thing that changes on that entry, Haley, is when I call, I'm going to go, hey, we just listed this property at 123 Elm Street. We know it's going to sell very quickly because of how many buyers we already have been talking to. So as soon as we put it on the market, Haley, I was calling to see if you or anyone you know might be interested in selling because we're going to have backup buyers. Then Haley goes, yes, no, either I'm not, you'll first say, no, I'm not in. Immediately, most people are going to go, I'm not interested in selling. Thanks. Anyway, they're trying to get you. Hey, well, I appreciate that. No one comes to mind. Anyone at all in the neighborhood? No, man, no one comes to mind. Well, hey, I've got you just because I do sell a lot here and we always have buyers for this neighborhood. Haley, if you were to move, where would you go next? And when would that be? And then next check down, and then the next check down. And then all of a sudden you're there and we're like, we're hugging. And me and you did that call very short, but I've stayed on the line for an hour at times, just building deep rapport, because in our system, what we look at is we call them ambassadors. I'm trying to build ambassadors that love me, love the brand, and that I know would buy or sell real estate with me or refer real estate business to me. So I don't look at it as so many agents are like, I just have to set an appointment. It's like, I just have to make a relationship. And it'll make your job so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
right?
And less scary. So many people say like when they start prospecting, they get really like call reluctance, they have a lot of fear around it. But if you go in with the mindset of just I'm just trying to make some relationships happen, just trying to make some friends, hopefully add them to my pipeline and I think that takes a lot of the scariness of calling strangers away.
Yeah, it's well, and it becomes more enjoyable, number one. Then the second piece is you've got to build up your database. Is your database built for the next 5 years?
Right.
Right. So once you put them in, right, like even I was telling you, we're having a really fun call session with our team here today. And we have a big scoreboard and we split our team into two different teams. And what we're counting today is every time you get a full contact information. So if me and you were on the phone and I was making a call to you, was I able to get your full name, which I probably have because of public records, your email address, your home address, and my favorite word, your status. When is hate? We know you're going to sell some point. That's why that original phrasing of that conversation is so important. It's not, hey, are you going to sell anytime soon? It's, if you were to move, where would you go next? That phrase is designed so specifically because if you said it any other way, you could be like, no, I don't, no, and I'm not, and whatever. You still
Right.
said 3 to 4 years. So now in my notes, right, Haley, 3 to 4 years. I would have went deeper and I'd have been like, well, why 3 to 4 years? And you would have said, my kids have to graduate, or my husband's going to retire, or my sister's going to whatever. I hear everything under the sun. All I'm looking for is status. So now I go, I have 3 years to stay in front of Haley. Probably it's going to happen sooner than that because every time they say 3, you subtract a year, right? You'll sell in less than 3, right? And so I have this amount of time to build her trust. So when the time comes, I'm her agent of choice.
Love that.
Right. So if you go into that, then you're tracking it. Then what you're caring about is how many leads did I enter into my CRM? And I hate the word leads, right? How many great families or friends that I enter in my system that day, depends on however your mind works, right? That I get the opportunity to nurture over the next 36 months. And that's why so many of these people become friends. They become, we'll be having Rockies games and client appreciation events and all of this fun stuff. And everybody becomes part of it because your intention wasn't immediately, how can I suck a sale out of this person?
It's all about intention.
Because they can smell that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So then here's the next piece, right? So now after you've made that call on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to have all of these people come to this open house, of course. Now, part of our 7-level open house too is you got to have a minimum, and I mean minimum, of 10 signs out. I see people putting an open house with like a sign in the front yard and one on the corner of the street. I say 10 signs minimum, logoed balloons, right? So you can get logoed balloons from your logo, your company logo. You could put your face and your dog on the balloons for all I care for like 20 cents a balloon. It's pretty much stupid. It's nothing. If your office doesn't offer a helium machine like ours does, right, then you would need to buy a separate helium machine because you want floaty balloons. And then you're going to have 10 signs with your face, your logo, your phone number on 10 balloons with directional signs pointing to the property. Even if no one comes to the open house, think about how much branding you just got of your balloons flying in the wind. And are they going to fly away and you're going to lose some signs and people are going to call and be like, don't ever put the sign on the corner of my house. You go, I'm so sorry. Did that happen? My sign guy must have put it at the wrong, whatever. Like people get so sad about like people being mad. I just go, cool, not a problem. Like my bad, right? I'm here to sell. I'm here to brand and here to sell. Like, so now you've got that whole setup. The other thing that I see extremely painful that I watch when people are doing this setup, I just want to make sure we stay on time. We got about 5 minutes or 2 minutes. How long, right? Is anytime we take a listing, we ask our sellers to leave for the entire weekend. I go take a vacation, go take a little getaway. I want full access to that house. If your seller is there when you're trying to prep for an open house, if they're waiting you going, okay, Brendan, when, sitting down the street, watching the attendance, it makes it so hard for you to do your job. So first step is try to get them to not be there. Second step, make sure you're preparing long enough. Then the last piece of this, and we'll do another session on what to do during the open house, Haley, but because that's a whole nother thing that I don't have time to go into. After the open house and you've got your sign-in sheet, you're going to call those people, thank them for attending, handwritten note card, add to database, put on your 33 touch a year system or more. Ours are called at 33 touches a year. Nurture, 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 build relationship, become friends, and be their realtor for life. I see people do open houses and they're like, rats, I didn't get anybody that wanted to buy or sell that weekend. I didn't sell the house. I'm like, you're not doing the open house to try to sell that house that
you don't understand.
You're missing the point. We're trying to build relationships. So I hope that's the takeaway for today is use the technology, especially the geo leads, the dialer, then get your scripting down, right? Join us for role play, right? Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays. You can join us anytime. Go to my Facebook page, Brendan Bartic Real Estate Coaching. We have live role play. We just did a huge session Thursday, right? From 12, we did it live today in our room with a whole crazy amount of people and on Zoom. If you don't sharpen this blade and get comfortable with this, then of course it sucks to pick up that phone.
Right.
But as soon as you get a little bit confident and have some style, then it's just, I got this many no's to end up being an appointment. I need this many appointments to take a listing or a buyer. I need this many to sell. And then I'm a net millionaire.
It's like clockwork.
Like clockwork.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Brendan. I was just thinking as you were talking, if you aren't maximizing your open houses, how much you're missing out on, and potential listings, potential relationships, all these things. If you're just doing which all the things that you're saying aren't super difficult to do, right? It's not gonna take an arm and a leg to call people and invite them. And your script was pretty simple, right? It's all just about doing it, actually getting on the phone and actually doing it and executing, and you'll build your pipeline for life.
Yeah, and having fun with it and having some energy.
Totally.
If you look at every day going, I have to make calls to make money, your life's going to suck.
Yeah.
If you wake up every day and go, I get to meet cool people by way of making phone calls that are going to lead into me being making a stupid amount of money, it's a lot easier to get up and do it every day. So it's just framing it in your head.
Yeah, the way you look at it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Brendan. I know that we'll have you back to talk more about this stuff. This has been awesome, a good half hour. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching wherever you are or listening to this after the fact. I just want to tell people, if you want to keep talking about things like this, we do have a new Facebook group. If somebody that is watching that's on my team could just post the link to the lead gen conversation on Facebook, get on there, and we talk about similar things like this all the time, about how to generate leads and convert them as well. So, but I think that's it for today. And Brendan already gave his Facebook. Is there anywhere else that we can send them? Yeah, no, BrendanBartic.com, or, oh, my light just went out in my office. Sorry. It's super dark here today. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, BrendanBartic.com or Brendan Bartic Real Estate Coaching Facebook page, and we'd be more than happy to help. Perfect. And we'll put those in the show notes. Thanks so much, Brendan, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks, Haley.